Okay, I believe we can start, and whoever is joining can join us as we go on. So, good evening again. My name is Hope Nduta. I'm your host for this session. I hope you're doing well. This is the second session for this particular class of Cyber Shuja. So, in case you missed the first session, karibu sana. Um, For any alumni that is joining us, also feel welcomed. Anyone from outside or external organizations also feel very welcome to this session. So I'll just go right to it. We'll be talking about something that is very relevant in this particular age that we live in, and in the particular fields that we're in, IT in general. So I remember for the last session we were talking about securing your career or something of the sort as the last point. And there's a question our speaker Lorna asked. She asked, how do you feel about AI? When you think of AI, how do you feel about the security of your job? What view do you have of AI? The risks associated with, let's say, cybersecurity, just in general, what was the thought of AI? And we got a couple of responses from people on the call. So we'll be learning more, building more on that knowledge, and even having an even more extensive view on AI and machine learning. So we'll be looking at risks in AI and machine learning. And with us to take us through this is Stephen Robia, who has, I'd say he has the capabilities to take us through this particular topic quite well. He is the head of IT at Monarch Insurance, and he holds a postgraduate qualification in AI and machine learning. He also has degrees in IT, business studies, and a diploma in risk management. Apart from that, he's equipped with certifications that include the CHFI, and CPIT. So his blend of tech, of AI and machine learning makes him very capable to take us through this topic. And I hope we can all pick up something and learn about this. So karibu sana, Stephen. You can take over.
Thank you very much. And thank you guys for taking time for us to have a session where we get to exchange ideas. Please feel free to interrupt me. Maybe you can drop a chat if you have a burning question. If not, then we can handle it towards the end. Please allow me to share my screen. And I'm looking at us having a very interactive session. So feel free to ask anything. Please confirm you can view my screen. Someone, anybody?
Yes, you can view your screen.
Yes, we can.
Awesome, thank you. So today we are going to look at the risks associated with artificial intelligence and machine learning. Who would tell me what artificial intelligence is? And someone else tell me one thing about machine learning very quickly before I point someone out. Right, Evelyn Mungoti, what comes to your mind when we talk about artificial intelligence?
Hello, everyone. According to me, I think artificial intelligence is when you train computers or machines to mimic human behavior.
Right, thank you for that. Joseph Jogona, what do you understand by machine learning? Joseph doesn't seem to be with us. Samuel Mbai. Abigail Dirango, your hand is up. So go ahead, please answer.
In my perspective,
machine learning is like it's like a part of AI, whereby systems are trained how to manipulate data.
Okay. No long answers. So we're going to get to know exactly what this is. Yes, Kevin?
I think machine learning is where, like computers, they use data and they learn to manipulate different aspects according to how they have been programmed to mimic either human interaction or maybe any of the data coverage to improve performance.
Right. Thank you guys for that. We are going to see the actual definition down there, but the good thing is that we have the concept at hand. All right. So once again, welcome to this session. Let's just dive deep into it. So we need to know how to navigate the risks that come with artificial intelligence and the new tech in machine learning. So here we can see that AI definitely promises us to revolutionize how we do business. But if we leave it unchecked, it's going to amplify those weak points that we have as humans. So if probably we have you input the wrong data, it's going to be amplified tens or hundreds, 100-fold, which may have impact on different maybe different sectors. Let's take health for instance, which you're going to see down there. If we take up probably an image of a cancer patient and feed the wrong images when training the model, we will end up diagnosing guys using the wrong parameters. We're going to see more about that towards the end. So today, generally, we'll just unpack the risks spanning the technical, ethical, and the societal layers in the human or in the environment that we're interacting with. All right, so thank you for your definitions, but here we are going to define artificial intelligence as simulating the human intelligence by machines enabling reasoning, learning, and problem-solving tasks. Then what do we know of machine learning? This subset focused on algorithms that learn from experience without explicit programming for every task. This aligns with what Abigail just told us earlier. So how did AI and ML come to be? Before I open that, anyone knows what the Turing test is? And I normally have gifts for my trainees, my best. So anyone, someone? Anyone has an idea of what a Turing test is?
Hello, I think I can answer that.
Yeah. Yes, please.
So the Turing test is a test which was developed to see how well a machine can mimic a human without it being detected. So it's basically it answering a set of questions, and then people or systems are supposed to judge on whether the responses are human-like or it's like the machine trying to follow a human being to fit into a human. So that's the Turing test.
Yes, thank you for that. You're on point. So this benchmark back in the 1950s, where there was a mathematician known as Alan Turing, where you would have say 3 participants. We had a human, or some people call him or her an interrogator. Then we would have and a machine respondent. So both the human and the machine communicate with the evaluator through, say, text that would eliminate biases. The evaluator would ask questions, and after, say, a set duration, say even probably 20 minutes or maybe even a minute, they would have to determine if this response came from the machine or from the human. So if the evaluator could not reliably distinguish whether the response was from the machine or from the human, then would say it has passed the Turing test. So we would have, say, the way we used to have the voting ballots. You would be separated in your own car box. Then we would have the evaluator in between. So jibu ikitoka on the left na ingine on the right, and he could not tell whether it's the human or the machine that has responded, that's when we would say they had passed the Turing test. So that takes us to now how AI came to be. Yeah, so thank you for that. So the Turing test by Alan Turing was the proposed foundational framework evaluating the machine intelligence, as we mentioned. Then way later, we had the Dartmouth conference. I think it happened in the Dartmouth College. They had a project whereby now they wanted to dig deep into artificial intelligence. Then they wanted to check, they wanted to, sorry, did I get that right? Yeah, it took about 2 months for the workshop to run. And this is when now the conference framed AI as a distinct and interdisciplinary field. So generally, it was not just based on computers. They had to look at AI from all fields, whether it's medicine, agriculture, whether it's weather, geology, all that. So that was a major milestone towards where we are today in AI. Then there was a time when we had some heavy recession, what we call the AI winters. This when funding was very little, little funds were going into investments around AI, and things were quite hyped, yet delivery was way low. So you would find that vendors would overpromise that they would scale solutions, but the systems were so expensive and inflexible, and they were hard to maintain. So in short, they were failing the broad commercial. Yes, you promise me you can do this, but it's so difficult for me to achieve that task with the resources at hand. Then you'd, as I mentioned on the scaling, transitioning from what they had developed in the labs into the actual or the into widespread use, there was massive heavy resources that were consumed all the way from electricity to the cooling and water bill. That was back in the 1970s. Then came 1997. I don't know whether any one of you knows the Deep Blue. This was a period where, or an event where a famous, I think a chess player, very famous chess player, was defeated by a machine. I think the machine was done by IBM. So this was a major milestone where we could now tell that a machine is literally coming to live or to interpret items as a human. Then now to where we are today, ranging from way back in the 2012s, this is when we started hearing of the big terms such as big data. We had it about the GPUs, all those processors. Then there were those breakthroughs, the likes of the AlexNet, that has now fueled the modern applications such as GPT, the daily, I don't know how that pronunciation is still the same. These guys, so in short, had things that we call convolutional neural networks. You can check it out. It's CNN. Maybe you can just note it down on your notes. So this was a major turning point in human vision and image recognition. Let's take an example of, say, we go to this is to check whether this is a cider tree, this is a mugumo tree. So this was a major breakthrough around that time. Then now the hype now became to reality. Any questions so far? All right, I think that's my cue to continue. Let's enter to the barriers to entry into what we have. Ready for the typo here. All right, so what barriers do we face when we're trying to achieve the full power of AI and ML? So if you have dirty data, or if we have data quality crisis, this is the data quality problem in AI and machine learning, which is still a big issue in the present, with 81% of companies facing challenges from incomplete, unfair, or messy data. We're going to see what unfair data is, or messy data that hurts how well this model works. The money they earn, the model works, and the money they earn. This happens because the basic data setups aren't built for machine learning. So experts are now using created fake data and people forecast methods to reduce unfairness and make things more trustworthy. Maybe you can remind me towards the end of the presentation to share with you some of the projects that we have done in when we were studying back then. We would feed up dummy data into a training model just to try and get to improve accuracy. But remember, this fake data is likely going to have what we call, I think we used to call them hallucinations. You can check that out. So these challenges with wrongly captured data, data that has been manipulated, or fake data eventually make us build models that are likely to hurt us eventually. Then we have massive compute costs. If for those of you who follow the likes of Elon Musk, you normally see how much or how huge those factories are that are running the likes of XAI. So this cooling those areas, it's super expensive. Right, I'll challenge you to read more about that on the cooling that goes into such areas. So there's some heavy investment that goes into this, including purchases of the technology running those devices. Then we also have challenges of the shortage in talent. You find that there are very few guys who've studied this field end to end. You find also that there's heavy competition from the guys, say, the likes of Meta, the likes of X. They tend to pick away the top talents and leaving out us here Kenyans, the likes of, I hope there's no one from Safaricom here, the likes of us in probably who may be working in Safaricom. We end up not getting the top cream because these are the guys are paying our people the highest possible, and we end up losing out on serious people that would hire. So this is a huge gap that we have a shortage of these guys. So AI startups were reporting that 40% hiring failure rate for machine learning engineers due to big tech competition, which is what we have just explained. Then I hope I'm not too fast.
Excuse me, Stephen.
Right. So
Your screen has disappeared.
oh, sorry. At what point did you lose me?
Just less than a minute ago. Thank you. It's back now.
It's still there.
Okay. Okay. So are we good?
Yes.
Someone
Yes.
confirm you can. Okay. Okay.
Yes. It's good.
All right.
Good.
So I hope that's clear. Any question around the barriers?
Yes.
Okay. In case of it, yeah, shoot.
I wanted to ask, since we have said one of the challenges is about the poor data quality.
Yeah.
So do we have mechanisms or ways to verify about the data integrity, which is the correct data and which is not?
Yes, good question. I think this now, I'll take an example of say where I work. We have to have a strategy on how we are going to be capturing clean data. So it all starts with whoever is inputting data, capture it right. Historical data, can we create a plan on how we can clean up data that was captured the wrong way? Probably the name is missing some character, probably an ID number is incomplete. Do we have a way of calling out or reaching these people who gave us this data and we clean it up? So we start up with the very, very basic point is cleaning up the data that we will be using to train these models. Because the moment we feed it the wrong details, definitely we are going to be in trouble. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other before we proceed? The count on 2. Right. I think we're okay. So at the moment, maybe someone would alert me, but I don't know of any framework in the country that is regulating AI at the moment. I know there are several institutions and bodies trying to come together to create these frameworks, but there are those that are already existing in the EU, such as the EU AI Acts of 2025. Maybe you can read more about it. So its enforcement forced the US autonomous vehicle firms to redesign pipelines and adding a 6 to 12 months market entry. Maybe I think I may have a case somewhere that we can use for this purpose of this. Let's see. So sometime back, we had some issues with Uber. Uber were training a certain model. Just try and confirm. They were trying to train their models to be autonomous, where they could drive on the streets without knocking down guys. Where's this? Okay, I hope I'll remember. But you can read about what happened when Uber were testing on a Volvo XC40, where that was the first reported case where a pedestrian was dying of that impact, where the vehicle, yes, identified the object, I think about 5.6 seconds to the impact, but the way the model had been trained, ended up not activating the braking system, yet the radar and everything had been activated on that. So please read on the impact of such errors. Then also read how such regulations or such acts came to improve how these pipelines are done, the production lines, how these improvements have come now to see us to top safety. Then I don't know whether I have another case. Okay. All right. In case it comes to my mind, I'll definitely share. How many are fans of this movie we call the Mission Impossible? Who has watched The Final Reckoning? Anyone? All right. No one has watched The Final Reckoning.
Okay.
You have. Who has watched The Final Reckoning? Hakuna? Okay, who has watched Megan, say 2.0? Or The Companion? Nobody. Okay, all right. So maybe today you can activate your net. You have? Who has? Who is that, please?
Yes, I have watched it. Megan
Which one
2.0.
have you? All right, tell us more about Megan 2.0.
Megan 2.0, this is a system, like not a system. It was an AI which was generated by the government to act as a soldier so that to be sent in missions. But along the way, it was altered in such a way that instead of protecting the people, it started harming the people themselves instead of that. Yeah, that's basically that way, in summary.
Thank you so much. You've done it very, very nicely and precisely. I want someone else to tell me about the Mission Impossible. This one we cannot pass. Why do I suspect you have also watched it? Someone here to pity. All right, Sawa, I'll help you on this one. So we have this character, I think we call him Ethan, I think Ethan Hunt, where they were running towards against time to get hold of this AI or a faction called the Entity. It was a rogue AI, an AI that had gone rogue. Then it was about to even launch missiles and even get countries into war. So this tells you of how if AI is mishandled in the near future, and some of these things that we see on movies, they come to fruition at some point. This tells you if we don't get hold of what we are training these models, eventually they may become smart enough to start self-protecting themselves. I don't remember the right case, but there's a case where this top AIs that we are using was self-protecting itself from being deleted. So please read about this. And this tells you that if we don't tame AI this early, we are going to definitely fall in trouble. So we're going to jump to the next item. We are going to look at the ethics around this area. The bias. We all know of Apple's card AI. This was a card that would give guys limit. It was discriminating against ladies. It would give ladies a lower limit, transactional limit, basically because of the to see that women cannot be on this cannot be this high in value, then to definitely give higher limits to the male counterparts. Then there was this issue of a company known as Clearview AI. These are guys who ended up scraping the whole internet and collecting billions, I think almost 30 billion images. Then they trained their models that you could easily identify your lookalike from the internet. So eventually this technology has been misused and given out to security agencies that help to hunt you down, say when you commit a crime. This data was gathered without your consent, but it's already being commercialized. So these are some of the risks that we are sitting on. I was seeing something called, I think, Nudify, whereby if I get hold of your image and upload it to Nudify, we can easily have images of you nude, and we can easily automate the same and animate the same. So if I send this animated image to your wife in the village who doesn't know AI yet, you are going to be in trouble because you're going to explain why your nude content is spreading over the internet. So these are some of the risks even going to affect our society. Then we also have some transparency crisis. I think I mentioned about the Uber driving fatality. So some of these small mistakes can lead to some losses of lives. Any question before we jump to the specific damages, some of the damages that we have seen? So here I picked up on health, if there's no question. I picked up a field in health where if you'd have an algorithm bias during diagnosis, as we had mentioned our case in cancer diagnosis earlier, we would have probably a hazard where we would have biases in treatment. Say probably we would have issues with melanin, probably an albino will be treated different from us, the black people. So all these, if we train the algorithm with bias, we would have falling problems. Let's look at transportation. Let's take an example of Heathrow. I'm not sure whether this is the same airport that had an issue recently with the AI. If these guys were to train the landing and the takeoff of flights to be based on AI, and someone makes a mistake on the source code, you definitely would have mid-air clashes if this is not checked. I think it could be one of those busy airports. So such small mistakes would definitely get us in trouble. You may check out about the fatalities that have happened as a result of challenges with their Tesla autopilot solutions. Then in education, if we can have an example of Duolingo. I'm sure a third of us have checked Duolingo, though we never finished the trainings. I'm a victim. I've never finished my German classes. You'll find that we have Duolingo's adaptive tutors favored English proficient users and were disadvantaging the non-native speakers. So the way the model was trained, you'd find that the English proficient users were more favored compared probably to South American, maybe someone from Brazil. Then what are the impacts on our environment? You find that these data centers that are running these AIs, they are consuming lots of energy, and we're already grappling with shortage of energy. So with time, we are going to have more challenges, including even on the cooling and all that. That's about it. I just picked about 4 fields. Anyone wants to give us a risk that they feel in any field? We'll pick just one, probably from a lady this time around. Someone give me a risk that they foresee probably in the military. Security could look probably in nuclear power plant. Someone give me an example. Open to a lady or a gentleman.
We have a couple of hands up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just go ahead. Just pick for me the hands, please. Hope as we continue.
There's someone who is talking. They can start off.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, there is this AI that, okay, there's a risk for software engineers because I found an AI that can make code both front end and back end, and can send the code to you via GitHub or as a zip file. Yeah. So software engineers probably.
Okay. Grace,
Okay, with regards to in the field of security, it can lead to mistaken identity, the way you mentioned earlier that there was an AI, I think it was a startup that scraped billions of images from the internet, and people could search for their lookalike. And line with the security agencies, it could lead to mistaken identities. And since we are seeing drone strikes, if AI ends up being in that, it can even lead to like maybe identifying wrong patterns in terms of wrong data and even targeting innocent people. Yes.
right. That's an awesome example. Ahmed Abdi.
There is a risk in insurance decline rates increasing. I believe last year there was a CEO of United Healthcare company who was assassinated. Previously to that assassination, they had implemented an AI model that led to an increase in the percentage of decline from 15% to almost 25 to 30 ballpoint range, thanks to AI. So by feeding legacy data that the insurance company had, they ended up rejecting insurance claims that were actually valid and could have been issued if it was a human being assessing the validity of that claim.
All right, thank you. That's awesome and very up to date. I'll have Charles Otuge before we go to Bere and finally Felix Otieno. So yeah, Charles, please.
Yeah, I wanted to ask now. I think the problem that is coming out due to AI is overfitted. There's what we call underfitted and overfitted models. Now, when artificial intelligence is being trained, then we use overfitted model. Then of course we get a wrong result. It's like you give us two students in this scenario. One is given leakage, passes exam. Another one, or given the same leakage, passes exam. But when you remove leakage from student A and B, then student B possibly will not pass this exam because no leakage, but A will still pass. So the one that will not pass the exam because there's no leakage is called overfitted model. In this scenario, I think that is what can cause the biasness where the weak ones which are manufactured using AI can actually be faulty most of the planes. I think that is one. And also, there's somebody who has also talked about biasness, mistaken identity. These are what cause all that. And if you go to medical field, we have what we call the confusion matrix, where when we use when we diagnose a patient, the result might come out that somebody is suffering from cancer, and actually they are not. Another one is not suffering, but they are. So those are what cause those kind of biasness of a fitted model. But underfitted model will give accurate results. I don't know what is your take.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I like that. I like that, Charles. Abere.
I'd like to talk about a field that you have not mentioned, and it's the government. So in Albania, they have elected AI to be one of the ministers in charge of procurement. So a risk that would come by from that would be the black box problem, whereby you can't explain why a model made a decision on something. So the AI minister could make a decision and then people are not able to explain why it did that. And also there is the risk of not knowing who to blame in case something goes wrong from the AI minister. So those are some of the risks that could come by from electing an AI as a minister.
That's awesome. I like that. And you've brought something very important that I had not captured in my notes around accountability. Thank you for that. Then I'll take two more hands in the interest of time. Felix, I think you are next.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to add on what has been said about misidentification, I think there is a department that deals with the legal immigrant in US. They are called ICE agents. It has been reported that They have their system that has been fed with millions of public images, and in which they used to take your photo to use the AI to detect, which has led to deportation of the people who are not supposed to be deported. And to add on that, I think AI has also been used in digital forensic in investigation, where it can maybe train to analyze big packets of data to narrow them in a way that human now can pick from that point, and which, since it's something that learns from machine learning algorithm, I think it can lead to some wrong prosecution or something like that. Thank you.
Okay, that's awesome. We'll have Felix, and not to lock out Joram will be the last person. Evelyn, please.
Okay, mine is just to add on the point and add on misinformation, whereby like as human beings try to manipulate AI into giving us information that we shouldn't have. So that's also a risk. And also in the political space as well, there's a lot of propaganda from politicians that is just AI. So I think that's also a risk. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Evelyn. And finally, Joram. Joram Dungo.
Hello, good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Evening. Yes, you are. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, actually, I raised my hand earlier. I wanted to talk about the like currently we are seeing AI is being used to produce drones. Like the one currently are being used between Ukraine and Russia war, and we have seen some challenges whereby some of the AI or robot guided missile, they are hitting some areas that they are not the actual targets. So those are the challenges, but there's someone who earlier had talked about it. So I think that is one of the risks.
All right, thank you so much for that, and thank you guys for being nice to me and giving me examples. Let's jump into. All right, I'll share this content, then you can have a look at, say, you can read more about the compass bias. I hope my screen is still visible. Someone confirm?
Yes,
it's visible.
All right, so you guys can read more about the compass bias. Then you can check out about Amazon hiring discrimination. You've noticed most of these hiring firms nowadays are using AI to evaluate the guys that they are going to onboard. I think even our own local company, the likes of Safaricom, are already implementing that. So let's read more about how those discriminations are coming along. Let's read out the IBM Watson Healthcare as well and see what happened around the oncology sections. Then what else? I think just to add to what you guys just said, I'll not go through this data poisoning and injections and quantum AI hybrids. I'm going to give you these notes. So, but this is just to add to some of the things that you were telling me earlier. So we are just building the case on, we already know what we are, the problems that we are sitting on. So what do we do about these challenges? Allow me to skip this one. So I'll explain down here. Okay, so how do we mitigate these risks as we come towards the end? So I think this one I'll just do in prose. Okay, so we adopt a structured AI risk management framework. This is by implementing frameworks such as NIST, AI RMF to systematically identify, assess, and mitigate risk to individuals, organizations, and society throughout the AI life cycle. Then we want to prioritize data governance and integrity. That is, protect data security, availability, integrity from development to deployment, treating AI models data as critical infrastructure to prevent breaches or manipulations. We want to use diverse and representative data sets. This where whatever we were talking about the fake data. So we want to incorporate varied data sources during the training to reduce biases and ensure equitable outcomes in AI models. Also, we want to conduct regular human oversight. So AI is not entirely here to replace us, but definitely going to make our work easier. But if we don't get sharp enough, definitely it's going to, I believe it's going to knock us, some of us out. So let's align ourselves. And we align ourselves by being AI savvy, whereby you can be deployed to monitor these models. And that way, I'll give an example of there's someone who mentioned about an insurance assessment that lowered, I think, was it 25 to 40% or thereabout. So the guys who are now running these models already learned about AI, so they have not been replaced. Their work has just been made easier. But for an underwriter, probably, who never wants to learn about AI, definitely you're going to be knocked out. So to ensure that we don't have these risks, let's have someone monitoring these models to ensure that they identify any biases or anomalies or any behavior that is off the norm. And we want to classify vulnerabilities and critical assets. So we leverage supervised machine learning to categorize cyber threats and prioritize protection for high-value assets in AI systems. So if I'm not wrong, I believe the Cyber Shuja guys, you're heavily studying on security. So maybe you can dig deeper on to get to see how AI automations are being used both offensively and defensively in our networks and in the internet. Then we want to implement systemic controls across pipelines. We want to apply targeted interventions and training models, deployment stages, and in deployment stages to manage risks holistically, such as what we mentioned, maybe production lines such as Teslas. We want to ensure that they meet specific standards before we can deploy them for the general public use. Then we want to incorporate fairness aware techniques. So we want to use and metrics designed to promote fairness, such as debiasing methods to avoid discriminatory impacts. Then we want to perform continuous risk assessments. So this is an emerging field for those guys who are passionate about AI. There are very, very few risk assessors in AI and ML. This is a field that you can tap in and give some good money. So we want to regularly evaluate systems for emergence, include and update. Then we want to foster multidisciplinary governance, where we involve diverse stakeholders, that is, ethicists, auditors. My hearing me is almost killing me. Auditors, domain experts in AI development to ensure balanced risk oversights. And finally, we want to promote responsible AI development by embedding ethical guidelines, transparency practices from the outset to build trustworthy systems that minimize societal harms. And that's all from me. We'll take up questions, comments. I hope we have learned a thing or two. These notes are available. They are with Hope. I'm sure she can share with you guys. Any questions? Yeah. Yes, Grace. I can see your hand is up.
Earlier in the presentation, you requested that we remind you to share some projects that you did where you used dummy data to train the machines when you were when you're explaining the point of bad and poor data.
Okay, I'll share the link with Hope, then she can share with you guys.
Okay, thanks.
That's okay? All right. And in case you need more details around those projects, I'm available to share with you. We can discuss them further. Yes, Ahmed?
Within your day-to-day line of work, is there any AI implementation within your line of work currently?
All right. So what we've done, I've been in banking for a couple of years. So I just joined insurance last year. So our long-term goal is to implement AI. And if I remember right, there's someone who asked about clean data. So what we've been working on at the moment is cleaning up the data automating those mundane tasks. Then eventually now we are going to implement the AI. All the way we are going to bring this to take care of claims management, response to customer issues, how we solve issues for our internal customers, being our fellow colleagues. So it's a journey. You don't just wake up and say, let's implement AI. I've been seeing several memes around saying, CEO saying, what do we want? We want AI. When do we want it? We want it now to do what they don't know. Okay. So we start somewhere, we clean up our house. Then next after that, now we can start thinking after AI. So Ahmed, just to answer you, we are now in the journey of now getting there, replacing legacy systems to take us to AI ready environments. This is something as heavy as even replacing some key core systems. So it's a journey. It's not a one-day activity. Clean up your house and eventually you get to achieve the full power of AI. Okay. I hope that answers you. Nando, please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Nando, go ahead.
Thank you. I was asking which is the best way of approaching AI, like the training models and everything, because I've learned some few ways of like an easy way of training AI. Let's say like labeling data where you just have to input a lot of data into it and it like understands and knows how to respond to it. So according to you, like which is the best way of developing an AI?
Okay, I think your question is quite wide, because when we talk of AI, we would even talk of let's take an example of we were talking about identifying leaves probably or a tree. Let's look at these maybe even these large language models. It depends with the context in which you want to use your AI. I think in some of the materials that you're going to see on what we have done, you have explained and given comments on the various models that you can approach and have the best models, and I've compared several models and telling you which works best. Then after that, now you can compare. I don't know whether Nado, you're in the group where you can lead all that stuff, whether dealing with text, whether dealing with images, all that. Yeah, so make sure you get those notes, then you can read even the way how you cache data to ensure that data is closer and you can process it faster, all those items, yeah. And how you break down data into smaller consumable, and we call them grouping of data, yeah. So that info you'll see on that breakdown on those projects. There are about 6 projects.
Okay.
All right. Lucas?
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I wanted to ask a question concerning like the course I'm taking. Currently, I'm taking software engineering, or let me just say computer science. I'm taking computer science. Considering that AI is coming, or not AI is coming, AI has already come. You see, AI is coding like almost a whole app, backend, front end, it's just a matter of seconds. So should I just, am I being heard clearly? Hello?
Sorry, you broke down kidogo. Now I can hear you. Okay, I lost you at some point, but I heard like you mentioned you're doing. I can hear you.
Hello?
I hope you can hear us.
What I'm asking is this. I'm a student taking, yeah, I can hear you. Same to you. Hello?
Okay, I hope I got you right. Let me just try and you mentioned like
Hello?
you're taking software engineering. Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Maybe you can type in the chat box.
Okay.
Yeah, then I'll respond to you.
Okay, let me just type it.
Yes, but we can now hear you. Give it one more try. Lucas, give it one more try. We could hear you.
Okay. Okay, I'm asking. Currently, I'm a student taking computer science, and now that AI has come, should I change from computer science to go to AI, considering the fact that AI is almost taking all software engineering courses? Like, if you see, you can find an AI coding like a whole system, just a matter of seconds. So, is it advisable for me to change my course to go to start learning machine learning, or should I just continue computer science?
The Bible says tusipoteze mtu yeyote, but I believe whatever you're studying will form the groundwork of what you're going to now expand into AI. I think I'm lucky I have one of my colleagues on this session. I think she would tell you that the AI, we're using CASA probably to do most of our developments. So it's just coming to complement the skills that you have. You should not be worried that AI is coming with a huge wave, like it's going to affect whatever you're already working on. So long as you know Python, you'll be able to debug issues way faster with AI. So you should not be worried that you need to move from the course that you're taking to AI. You can always advance and get into heavy details around AI once you're ready with, or you're done with whatever you're studying right now. That's okay? Right. I hope that answers you.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Usiachane na course yako. All right, I can see Kevin Kimutai.
Okay.
Thank you, Stephen, for the great session. So, just a quick one on, say, the organizations currently are deploying AI models, and so could you probably shed light a little on the platform they're using, and if say they're using cloud to deploy AI agents and stuff. My question would be on the data. Would the data not sit in these big tech companies' data center? Think of maybe a banking institution is deploying an AI scoring model. That will mean that the data they are training on cloud or deploying an agent on cloud would mean that the data sits with the big tech companies. And now thinking of it from a perspective of a Kenyan bank deploying such kind of an agent, won't it be a problem when it comes to data and ODPC and intellectual property? Maybe just shed a little bit light on that.
Very, very good question, Kimutai. So I think once you read some more, you're going to see that some of these companies, some of these big institutions, they're not even at firewall level. They will not allow you to access these AI tools. So you want probably to access Grok or Gemini or ChatGPT. They will not allow you to go out there. What they have done, they have brought these models in-house. So like they have a concept of an OpenAI, some sort of GPT, brings it to their environment and customizes it to ensure that the customer data does not go out there. So this will answer your questions around data privacy. But this definitely tells you have to have a financial muscle for you to be able to learn or to purchase equipment that is able to handle this. So yes, to answer you, this now can be brought home. You just now need to make some extra investment and have the proper skill set to run these GPTs and the other AIs. Does that answer you? So we do have controls around that.
Yes, it answers, Stephen, and just maybe now a follow-up. So you want to tell me that currently there are banking institutions that have secured the GPUs and they're already training the models in-house, on-prem?
Yeah, subject to confirmation, you can check out JP Morgan. I think JP Morgan are already using it.
All right.
JP Morgan, yeah, you can try and read. I believe they're already doing it. But in the country, I'm not sure whether anyone is doing it in the country at the moment.
All right. I think that's fair enough. Thank you.
Okay. We have Evelyn, Abere, and Nando. Are these old hands or new hands? Evelyn, new question?
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to ask on governance, risk, and compliance in terms of AI. As a different entity on its own, I wanted maybe you could shed light on how it looks like in the industry, qua ground, and then also you can also give like an explanation as to, according to how you know audits are done, maybe how the company or an organization complies with the standards of AI, and also how they make sure that even if we have policies and standards, how you make sure that you have like all the time, you have like continuous improvements on the like non-conformities. Yeah, that is it from me. Yeah, thanks for the session.
Okay, karibu. So as I mentioned earlier, I've not seen much traction around these frameworks. I know I've seen of a group, I think they call themselves the Data Governance Society. It's a membership group. They take care on matters, how just to handle data. I have seen them having some interactions around how to build a framework that is going to help us just improve this subject confirmation. I really hope it's that group so that I don't mislead you. But I saw them discuss something around AI and improve those frameworks. Then there should be another one around the Institute of Risk Management East Africa. I know these guys have been coming together and trying to get some working framework that can help us to govern data. This also now is going to trickle down to the likes of the ODPC, who must come up with the parameters that we are going to use to follow to govern how we handle data. Around audits, I'm not very sure about that, how audits are happening at the moment around AI. To be honest, I've not interacted with an IT audit involving AI at the moment, but it's a challenge. I can read more about that. Thank you, Eva. So please also help me to read around that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Abere.
Hi, Stephen.
Yeah.
My question is around the answer that you gave to Ahmed while you were talking about the stuff that you have been doing in the banking field. So you mentioned the importance of a pipeline for collection and cleaning of data to ensure that the models you create are accurate. And so I wanted to know if in looking for maybe people to help out in that, you have a preference for people who are in data engineering, or you prefer someone who is it does a bit of machine learning or data engineering.
So at the moment, okay. All right. If I got you right, so at the moment we have not sought any guys from outside. It's just reaching out to the existing people, telling them capture data the right way. So if such a time comes, then definitely we are going to look for guys who are keen to details to help us clean the data. But we have not started looking out there for guys to do this stuff. I hope that has answered it. Nando as the last hand. I think our time is up.
Sorry, I think I didn't put it down.
All right. So thank you guys for creating time for us. I'll shoot it back to Hope, and Hope, probably you could alert me very early in the morning. Then I'll share the notes with you, and you could be sharing this in the meantime. Hope, back to you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Joram, is that a question?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a question.
Okay.
In your view, where does Kenya currently stand in terms of AI adoption? And then since you've been, you have a experience in this field, what are some opportunities that you feel are untapped in sectors like insurance, healthcare, agriculture, where AI could make the biggest impact in the next few years?
All right. I think Kenya would classify it as developing. We're in the early stages of adoption. Yeah, developing and adopting. That's why I would classify us. Then as you asked, definitely there are a lot of opportunities, including you. I don't know whether you're in security. You have an opportunity even to build your own solutions that are automated. Think of a tool probably think of an AI, a crazy AI that would know of any vulnerability on any device on this country or on the planet probably even knows a vulnerability in Android, in a Cisco router, in a FortiGate firewall, knows that if this is the firmware, these are the vulnerabilities to expect, then it can literally build bots and even crush this stuff down. You as a defender can as well go and learn all these vulnerabilities that exist in any appliance and build a defense against that. So there are opportunities of so many things you can build. In agriculture nowadays, I saw a drone that would literally just attack the weed and not harm the plant. So the opportunities are limitless. I believe it's just a matter of where you look. And someone said, where there are problems, opportunity uko hapo. So it's up to you, the field that you are, identify what you can do. In insurance, look at the way probably two vehicles collide. You can even look at the angles. If I'm sent the images, I can tell probably this is a Mercedes and this is a Probox, tushajua how hard body ya Probox iko. So you can tell impact venye ilikuwa and the speed that probably they were in. The my AI can help me and tell me, do I investigate this case or leave it? Such. There are so many things. How was the weather? All those cases. So there are so many opportunities in AI. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. And I can see Mahita. I think probably he was waving at us. Okay, Hope, back to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much again, Stephen. So thank you so much, everyone, for the participation. Stephen, a big thank you from the Cyber Shuja community as a whole for doing this session. I believe a lot has been learned. I also would like to challenge the students to just think of the opportunities in this sector, just like Stephen is saying. Think of your line of work and think of how AI can either ease it or solve an issue. So, and hopefully we can also be, while we are developing and while we are training models, have the risks associated with them at the back of our minds at all times. So, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Stephen, for your time. It's always a pleasure to have you on these sessions, and I hope we have a lot to internalize. I will share the slides as Stephen has shared. For those who'd like to watch the recording later on, it is available on the Cyber Shuja channel on YouTube. So without saying anything much, wishing you all a good night and have a lovely rest of your week. Bye.
Thank you.